Jeff, Zach, thanks for joining me.
Hey,
Hi,
Steve.
Steve.
Hey, good to have you guys. We are talking about the real estate situation, residential real estate in Los Angeles post fires. If you're interested in this kind of real estate news, also visit us at our website, selectfincap.com, and get our free newsletter, where we'll cover these kind of news items every week. But turning to Los Angeles, they've starting to put together some plans on how to rebuild the Palisades and other areas that were essentially kind of burned out, at least for many blocks areas. Huge rebuilding challenge they have. And this news item is kind of a non-news item in a way. They still don't have a plan on what they're going to do with insurance. It's a lot of these areas are still not insurable. They've got to look at rebuilding. Some of the wealthier owners are just rebuilding and not even insuring if they can't get it, or they can only get a partial. So I guess if you're worth enough millions of dollars, you can go that route. But we're seeing a real challenge in California in terms of not just how they're going to rebuild, but how are they going to insure these properties, and what are these homeowners or these landowners, now that there's no home standing on it, going to do about rebuilding if they can't get access to insurance? Your guys' thoughts on the
Well,
LA situation?
well, and one thing that's not being pointed out here in this article, but I have seen in others, lots and land that have burned down that are vacant pieces of land are trading hands like wildfire. And I hate to say wildfire, and it's probably a very poor choice of words. I apologize, but they are literally trading hands for cash rapidly. I mean, the values are just skyrocketing just for land. So the homeowners are going to be bailed out to some extent. Maybe not made fully whole. Hopefully they have some insurance or the land will cover their losses. I don't know that it will. But in terms of future homeowners, you're only going to have very wealthy people that can afford to buy and repair things and self-insure because insurance carriers have left the market. So there's no more Fannie and Freddie loans. And, without any of that kind of support for middle class and upper middle class folks that take loans, there are no loans. So people aren't buying homes. So you're only going to have an enclave of very wealthy people. And if there's a disaster, they're paying out of pocket for it, which is no matter how wealthy you are, that's not a great place to be in. I mean, rebuilding a $20 million house for 20 million bucks, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do it more than once, that's for sure. So it's not a tenable situation, and some level of government needs to step in somehow, figure out a way to make this a more palatable and friendly environment for insurance carriers to come in and support these homeowners.
Yeah, I mean, I might add or change that a little bit. Fannie Freddie weren't really the ones financing these. These houses were too big, even for California. The levels that Fannie Freddie would have financed wouldn't have covered a $20 million home, regardless. Even the banks that would cover it, still looking for some sort of insurance coverage. And to some degree, most people would say, well, that's going to be on the homeowner. Well, yeah, theoretically. I think the other problem with this is, how this article is talking about covering some amounts up to 3 million, and then it's private insurance, and then it's on the homeowner for losses or whatever else. I mean, in my mind, what's going to end up happening with this is some other disaster is going to occur, and now everybody else who's not in the most valuable land in the state is going to expect the same limits that somebody else was given, and now California's created their own problem again.
Yeah, I mean one opinion, but I think it's an educated opinion, is that three or four of these residents aren't going to be moving back in. And then I also think that there's an element here of when you're talking about like beachside property, in LA, uh, yeah, it's going to get bought, it's going to get lived in, and regardless of the insurance situation, that
Yeah.
property is just so premium and so sought after. But we're not talking about just property on the beach. There were a lot of neighborhoods that were burned out that aren't quite that exclusive. So I think this kind of goes back to why we're probably going to be covering this story for a while, in that if we're this far into it and they still don't have a clue how they're going to handle the insurance market, this ain't getting rebuilt, these neighborhoods, anytime soon. Th th This is going to be prolonged And we're going to be probably looking at a ALA redevelopment project that I hope to God doesn't go as long as the bullet train to nowhere, but it could last longer than what people are hoping for in order to LA to get its act together and some of these neighborhoods that aren't so exclusive that the very wealthy can just say, I don't, I'm just doing it on my own dime, but some of the ones that are maybe only a $5 million house, um, how do they get rebuilt? And right now the answer is probably not anytime soon.
I think you got to consider whether or not LA wants that area rebuilt as well, whether or not they're saying it or not saying it. Becomes a different discussion. But I think, again, LA and California as a whole is going to decide, what's good for the goose and what's good for the gander. You can't say that I'm going to give money to the rich and not give money to the poor, and at the same value, same levels. It's just that, and that could be one of the, hurdles that they have, trying to figure that part out.
Well, I will make a last comment. Having worked with politicians before, spent a few years getting to know them. Leadership and problem solving is not really things they do or have much experience with. So again,
You
this
mean to tell
this
me
could take.
about, kissing babies and shaking hands?
They do theater. They will show up to cut ribbons. They will absolutely take credit for firemen putting out fires, for cops keeping houses from being plundered. And if anything does get rebuilt, they will be there to take credit for it. But as far as actually, in my experience, they don't have much experience getting things done, and they're gonna, in this case, they're gonna have to try to figure that out. Because there's no choice here. You're gonna have to fix some things.
Yes, my only comment is good luck.
Yeah. Uh, we all wish LA good luck, and we'll probably be talking a little bit more about this because one way or another, that land is valuable and it's going to get developed. This will get worked out. Um, well, I will say that one thing that does focus politicians' minds is donor dollars, and there's enough money rolling around here that they will get focused on this problem one way or another. Okay, yeah, give us your comments if you think I'm being too cynical or not cynical enough. Let me know. Let us know what you think about the insurance industry and what California says about it. Uh, click, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and visit our website again, selectfincap.com. Get on our exclusive free newsletter listing by registering at our website and get a look at exclusive commercial real estate investment opportunities in the future. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Dave.